Hello, guys. This is Deepika from MyTutorialRack, and I have with me Lee today from South Africa. He has a consulting company with the name Venus One, and it's a Salesforce consulting company. Welcome, Lee, to this, and we look forward to talking to you today on this podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Deepika. How are you doing?
Good, good. And tell us more about this consulting company of yours, the Venus One.
Venus One is a company that I started about 2 years ago, but this between last year and this year, I started really getting serious in with investing my time in it. And it's a Salesforce company focused on small to medium businesses, helping them transform their businesses. Here in the Salesforce ecosystem, you have a lot of big consulting firms that cover a lot of clients, but I wanted to create a space and a company that can actually cater for the smaller businesses in order to help them transform their businesses digitally, give them the advantage that technology gives you, and especially the advantage that Salesforce as a CRM can give them.
Awesome, awesome. So, how do you, first of all, how do you find these clients of yours? Like, what is your approach in finding? If somebody has to start their own consulting company, the main important thing is to get those clients. So, what is your approach in finding clients?
I have two main approaches. The first one is I've been using and leveraging my network. So I've been spreading the news of Venus One within my network. So that is friends, families, colleagues. I also have a job, a full-time job where I'm an independent contractor as well. It's in the FMCG space, but I don't compete with them in terms of the type of clients that I have. And the secondly, I've been working on my personal brand on LinkedIn. I've been posting quite regularly on LinkedIn, just trying to get my personal brand up so that people can actually have awareness of the type of work that I've done, the skills that I've built, and more than anything, have awareness of Venus One as an offering.
Okay. And how many employees do you have currently with Venus One?
At the at the moment, I am employee number one, but we have an ongoing project where I have two part-time employees who are helping me deliver a project at the moment. But in terms of the books, still employee number one.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So you do hands-on yourself as well, hands-on development. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, so this is the second big project, the third client. As I mentioned, I do have a big client in the FMCG space, who I've been doing work with there for about 5 years. But in terms of the client specific to Venus One, the first big project, I did it all by myself. I had a bit of help for a month or two from someone who I'm using on my follow-up project. But the majority of the work, I started it from myself, ended it just doing the work by myself. But now with the second project, I've learned and seen that I actually need people to assist me. Hence, I contracted two people to help me. So I am very still hands-on, but I'm more hands-on now from a delivery management perspective and also doing some DevOps just to help with all the deployments and the pipeline of the work that we're doing on the current project. So still very hands-on, but at least a lot less hands-on than I was previously because now I do have help.
Oh, awesome. So when you hire your employees or your part-time employees, what is the kind of skills you look for them? Are you very heavy on certifications, or what do you look in the candidate before you hire him as your employee?
So over the years, in terms of certifications, I mean, certifications in the ecosystem is great and it shows that someone has proven themselves in a certain skill. But I've started looking and focusing mostly on skill. So both of them are certified, but then the skill and experience is more what I find the weight because I know the type of work that they've done that determines what kind of projects I'll put people on. So even for future, I mean, admin is usually a bare minimum in the ecosystem. So that's something that I do look for as a requirement. But outside of the admin one, just knowing the type of projects a person has worked on and the experience they've built, that is more important to me. That's the weight that it carries the weight for me in terms of what they can actually deliver.
I agree. I agree. I think certifications play an important role, but more than certifications is the experience that is very valuable. And if you have worked on similar projects, that helps a lot.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
when you started, what made you start into this consulting company? You have companies like Deloitte, Accenture, these are the big. What was your motivation to start this consulting business?
And firstly, I have worked for Deloitte Consulting before in the Salesforce ecosystem, and it was a good experience then. But something that forced me, not forced, but I felt compelled to start Venus One, just because I felt that there weren't enough people of color being represented in a leadership perspective throughout the different what's it, Salesforce consultancies here in South Africa. And in South Africa, Black people being the majority, I felt that it's needed to have a place where Black executives can actually find a home. So at the moment, as I said, I am employee number one, but that's where I'm building the company towards. I want to see more Black people being executive leaders within the Salesforce ecosystem, or more people of color to be specific.
Awesome. And what challenges did you face when you started Venus One? What will you advise to somebody who wants to open a consulting company? What are the challenges they can come across?
The big challenge is finding clients. Finding clients is not, it's quite challenging to be honest, especially when you are a smaller player in the market. Finding clients, because I mean, as you mentioned, they are the big firms here in the Salesforce ecosystem that pretty much cover most clients and they
Yeah.
don't leave any stones unturned. So I'd say finding clients. So it's something that I'm doing different is that I'm going for customers that haven't had a CRM before. I'm targeting customers that still are in a position to transform the company. So in that way, I have I guess first movers advantage because they haven't experienced or they haven't had any big tech projects. So I'm offering that to them. So I'd say the biggest challenge is find clients, but hence I'm spending a lot of time building my personal brand and trying to get Venus One out there to create awareness so that people actually know our offerings, actually know the skills and what we're capable of. And it helps getting clients because now, at least with the clients that I have, I can use that as testimonials and that'll help me get other clients.
And what is your project cost? Like, if how much you when you look for a client, what kind of revenue you are looking at, or what is your, like, if it somebody needs help from your company, what is the cost that they are expecting? That okay, this project will cost this much. Do you have those templates that okay, this project is going to cost you this, and this is the kind of company you go after with the revenue of so and so? Do you have that kind of
I've started working on a blueprint after I got my initial client. So I do sort of have a range and the type of customers that I'm going after. But I think the important thing when it comes to pricing for me and pricing for my clients is to make sure that I can provide value at a lesser cost than the big firms. Because the other thing about your big Salesforce consultancies in the ecosystem is the price range, right? They make it a bit tougher for the small businesses to be able to procure these services. So just based on the size of the companies and the clients that I'm looking at, usually the clients have 1 to 10 employees. So they usually at that point where they've been running their businesses for a couple of years and now they want to scale without actually incurring too much people costs.
hmm?
So while scaling, that system always comes well in place. So I've learned and started, I'm getting much better at it. It was a challenge at first in terms of the pricing and learning how to price right. But I believe I'm starting now to get a sweet spot just based on the size of my clients. I mean, when you look at my first client, they have about now they're growing about 30 employees plus, but a small Salesforce space, about 11 users. And then the my current client that I just got that we just won a project recently, they're very small in terms of what they want to do from a CRM perspective. So they have about 4 employees that they'll have on Salesforce. So I've learned the magic of pricing right, and each project gives me more experience in being able to price just at the right point for the clients. Because as I mentioned, they are small to medium businesses, with more of them being more on the small side.
Okay, awesome. And And probably one of the things compared to what advantage you guys have is your deliverability time period, right? You probably would be shorter as compared to what Deloitte is going to offer. They takes years and months on the project to finish it up. And I think you guys, what is your timeline if somebody wants to get something done? What is the timeline? Do you guys tell them that, okay, it's going to be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, how long the projects are going to be?
We don't have a default timeline, and this is a lesson that I learned on one of my first few projects. It's because scope determines timeline. So it's very important that we have a discovery phase where they tell us what processes they want to build into a CRM, what are the pain points that they currently have, and how do they want to use technology to scale. In this case, obviously Salesforce. So we don't have specific timelines. We usually let the scope determine how long we'll be running a project.
Have you looked into websites like Upwork to find clients?
I haven't tried Upwork. I know there are quite a few people who do use Upwork to find clients, but I haven't considered it yet. Because I've always thought of Upwork as more a one-to-one
No, there are a
service.
lot of businesses who are on Upwork and they are also looking. So that might be a great opportunity for you, but you probably have to get some in the beginning. It'll be a little tough, but I think you can get large number of clients from Upwork as well. That's I have seen another company, another consulting company from India who's doing very well and started to find projects through Upwork.
Oh, Deepika, thanks. That's
Yeah.
actually something I haven't considered, but definitely something I'm
You
gonna
should definitely
consider. And
check it out. Yes, Upwork is a great place to find clients and also kind of it'll be I don't know the location wise, but it'll be good to find clients from there.
yeah, I think the only challenge with Upwork will probably be the hours, but that's also fine because usually when the project starts, I do let the team know and I brief them on the clients that we work with. And if working hours are going to be a thing,
Yeah.
something that I will consider in finding members, team members who will be willing to work those hours. But for me personally, I'm a night owl, so if I had
Oh,
to
okay.
work for a client in the Americas, I'd also be able to do that because feels like 24/7 is more my working hours time to time.
So how did you got started into Salesforce? We haven't talked about that. Like how did journey started into Salesforce? What is your background? Are you a computer engineer? How did you got into Salesforce?
Yeah, I actually started my career off as a web developer here in South Africa about it's now about almost 10 years. Next year it's going to be 10 years since I've been a working professional. 3 years into my career, I had an opportunity to work for an organization called African Leadership University, which is situated in Mauritius, the island of Mauritius here in Africa. And once I started my career there, I was a front-end developer and a web developer for them. But I really, in as much as I love software development, I've always wanted to go into more of a functional role. So what I did at the time is I asked my manager if he could actually give me an opportunity in a different type of role that isn't software development. And at the time, the organization had a couple of Salesforce projects that were running. And with those Salesforce projects, he gave me the opportunity to transition into becoming a Salesforce professional. I remember I started off with about two projects that I ran all by myself. So he really did throw me into the deep end. And that's where I really, spent a lot of time learning on Trailhead, getting very familiar with it. And that's really where my Salesforce career has started. And I mean, I'm 7 years now into the Salesforce ecosystem. So
So
it's quite
Trailhead is
fortunate
your
to transition.
so Trailhead is your go-to resource whenever you have to learn.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's where I really learned everything about Salesforce. Well, obviously you can't get everything in one place. I learned a lot also through experience, but Trailhead really did give me that jump start in my career. And I mean, even a couple of years into it, became a Salesforce Ranger, and that really set me up.
Awesome. And there are tons of Salesforce certifications out there. Which one will you recommend people? I know admin is one that you have mentioned already. What others do you have, like platform developer one or any top five certifications you think will help a candidate to land their first job? Which one you recommend?
Admin is obviously a go-to. I believe that's I mean, that's the foundation to all the skills we have, in the ecosystem. I have two consulting ones, being Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. So I'll definitely recommend the two because I feel from a offering perspective, Sales Cloud and Service Cloud are the most commonly offered clouds or needed solutions in the market. So those two out of the five, I'll definitely recommend the two consulting ones, Sales and Service Cloud. And then I would recommend App Builder. App Builder, just to fully understand how to set up and build apps for customers. I believe it's a no-brainer in having that kind of skill. Then platform developers, obviously not for everyone, but
Yeah.
I believe for me, I'm from the school of thought that whether you're functional or not, it's very important to have the technical knowledge and also know how far you can stretch the platform. So with that said, I would actually recommend a bit of a difficult one, which I don't have currently, but I plan on writing, is the platform builder as well. Because I think, yeah, the dev one is having that technical knowledge is very important. And obviously, the AI ones that are coming up now are going to be needed in the near future by all the clients because everybody is talking AI.
Yeah.
So it'll be very important to have at least one AI one under your belt.
But I don't know if companies can right now are having those AI tools. You have to buy them in order for them. I don't know if we have everybody has gotten the certifications, but not sure when are they going to get hands on into those things in an actual project. Because I work with FTIC, that's a government project. They're not going to invest money in AI at this point. So I don't know. I've gotten the certification, but I don't know if when I will get a chance to actually implement it. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean, that's at the moment, right? AI is still a tool or platforms or technology it's still being slowly adopted. Obviously, with the chat GPTs out there, as individuals, a lot of us have adopted it because it is free. But from an enterprise perspective, I also find that it's very expensive
Yeah.
and not a lot of companies are going to be adopting it
Yeah,
yet. But
exactly.
that's the big thing. I think everybody should be prepared because there will be at some point a wave of companies that will adopt AI agents and AI technology within enterprise solutions. More
Yeah,
than anything, having that certification is so that you can have the fast or first movers advantage.
exactly.
When companies start adopting it, at least you'll have that under your belt and you'll be ready for it. Unlike, unlike you're only gonna get certified 5 years down the line and you're seeing that now that it's booming and people are adopting it, but it's too late because you missed that opportunity. So it's also something that I'm gonna be exploring with my team as well to say, how do we get certified in AI and how do we start using it at a cost-effective way for clients? But
Yeah.
at the moment, I am still feeling that it is a bit too pricey, especially for the segment of clients that I'm
We're
what's it
working.
targeting.
AI is a big deal, but I think it's currently expensive. Especially, how is the job situation in Africa, in South Africa? Is there are plenty of jobs in the Salesforce ecosystem? What about somebody who just did their into web development and wanted to start their career into Salesforce? What kind of opportunities South Africa has at the moment? Is it plenty?
Well, if you had asked me this question a couple of years ago, it would have been a very different outlook, because the demand for Salesforce roles has been at its highest the past few years, but I'm finding that it's actually decreasing a little bit.
Oh,
So it's not the uptake isn't as high as it was, say 2 to 3 years ago from my observation. However, on the dev side, we still are lacking supply of Salesforce developers within the ecosystem. We're still finding a lot of dev roles being outsourced to Ukraine developers, India. So there is a lot of room on the development side in terms of job opportunities, especially for people who are coming from software development backgrounds. I believe I would recommend Salesforce for them, but I'm also finding that from a functional perspective, the demand isn't as high anymore. So for people who are in your business analyst roles, your data analyst roles, I'm finding that the job market is needing functional resources a bit less or functional people or skilled. a bit less than they are developers. So that's something that I'm observing.
Awesome.
It could also just be based on what's happening globally with the global economy, that some companies are starting to hire a bit less. So we'll see when the economy starts picking up globally if what I'm saying is actually facts. But at the moment, from my observation, haven't been in the ecosystem for 7 years. That's what I'm picking up.
I think you're right because initially there were a lot of admin roles and stuff like that, like BAs, and now they're looking for more development roles as well. Like within admin, you also need to know coding in order to help them. So you're absolutely right. Even in US, I see that there are more development roles that are opening up as compared to just admin roles. Those days are long gone, I believe. That is it, Lee, I had for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. You did a fantastic job, and I think a lot of people will definitely gain knowledge from your experience if they wanted to start the consulting company, or if they are fresher looking to get into job market, what kind of job they should start with. So thank you so much, Lee, for taking the time.
Thank you very much, Deepika. And I just want to close out with one thing. A lot of people see starting a consulting firm, especially in Salesforce, as difficult and challenging. It is, but from a Salesforce requirement perspective, it's very easy. You just need two Salesforce consulting certificates, whether it's you or someone else who has two, and that alone meets the requirements to start a Salesforce consultancy. The application process is very straightforward. Salesforce guide you through it. And then after that, they also give you a lot of tools. The nice thing about being a Salesforce partner is they aid you with a lot of tools on how to get clients, how to train and upskill your people as well. So being a Salesforce partner, I believe a lot of people think it's out of reach, but I say it's not. I say anyone can do it, but obviously it comes with putting in the work in order to make it work. Yeah, you'll be a Salesforce partner, at least a basic entry level partner. But even that gives you, they give you two free, what do you call it? They give you vouchers for the exams, amongst other things that they support you with. And also, if you're fortunate enough, you can work with account executives to either win business or they will bring you business. So that's also a bonus of being a partner.
That's something new. I didn't know about it. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, how to become, because I'm not a Salesforce partner. I do Salesforce trainings, but I'm not a organization who does the projects and stuff like that. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so just wanted to close out on that and let people know that it is possible and it's easier than they think.